ॐ विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यन्निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिरिवोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यः साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्रचित्रीकृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महायोगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये ॐ सहनौ भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयामदेवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः स्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेमदेवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो हरिष्ठनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्ददातु ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः. So page 46, mantra number 7. नान्तः प्रज्ञं न बहिष्प्रज्ञं नोभयतः प्रज्ञं न प्रज्ञानघनं न प्रज्ञं नाप्रज्ञम् अदृष्टमव्यवहार्यमग्राह्यमलक्षणम् अचिन्त्यमव्यपदेश्यमेकात्मप्रत्ययसारं प्रपञ्चोपशमं शान्तं शिवमद्वैतं चतुर्थं मन्यन्ते स आत्मा स विज्ञेयः. So we are discussing Bhashyam on page 49, fifth line. यदा पुनः घटतमसोः विवेककरणे प्रवृत्तं प्रमाणम् अनुपादित्सिततमोनिवृत्ति फल अवसानं छिदिः इव छेद्य अवयवसम्बन्ध विवेककरणे प्रवृत्ता तद अवयवद्वैधीभाव फल अवसाना तदा न आन्तरीयकं घटविज्ञानं न प्रमाणफलम्. We are seeing how knowledge takes place. Knowledge is, we say knowledge is born in a node's head. In that only ajnana nivrutti is done by pramana, vritti. Shabda is a pramana. Shabda generates a corresponding vritti that dispels the ignorance which is there with the pramata. That's a clean process. So no new knowledge takes place because already knowledge is there, means consciousness is there. And that all-knowing consciousness is already there, Ishvara. That Ishvara is there, who is Sarvagnya, all-knowing, and therefore any knowledge when takes place is only Ajnana Nivrutti, nothing else. Not that if something new knowledge is created or pramana does something else by addition of a new attribute to the object, even though we say known part or etc. But really speaking, revealed part, etc. But it is really not a new attribute, it is added to that. Only Ajnanam is gone. The object is already present in consciousness. And that is all revealed automatically. Anyway. So here, so far as knowledge of oneself is concerned, Turiya is concerned, that's what the seventh mantra talks about. Seventh mantra is called Pramana here right now, which generates a vritti. Seventh mantra is a Shabda. When Shabda does not generate vritti, then Shabda is no more a Pramana. Pramana means Pramajanakam. it has to generate a prama. And in order to generate a prama in a mind should be qualified. That's it. Therefore, all this our yoga shastra, etc. Well, karma yoga, upasana, and all this ultimately to create a mind in which such a vritti is generated, which will take care of the ignorance, avarana, which is there as a upadhi of a pramata. Anyway, so here he talks about a part knowledge, but for that he gives a example. छिदिहि इव छेद्य अवयव संबंध विवेक करणे प्रवृत्ता तद अवयव द्वैधीभाव फल अवसान is an example. So छिदिहि, cutting process, what does it do? छेद्य अवयव संबंध विवेक करणे प्रवृत्ता. छेद्य अवयव means the छेद्य, to be cut, some object, anything, wood or anything. That's a छेद्य. Chedya avayava, the portions of the object to be cut. So Chedya avayava sambandha, sanyoga. Right? The two portions, let's say, the two portions of an object to be cut, they are right now what? Sanyoga. They are joined. And viveka karane. So that will be separated by what? Chidihi. So, chidihi pravutta. Chidi, the cutting process is engaged. The cutting is really engaged in doing what? In separating. So, sambandha, viveka karane means viyoga karane. So, here, viveka is not here. Viveka means a separation here, viyoga. Sambandha means a sanyoga. So, the cutting process is engaged basically in doing a separation of the portions of the object to be cut. This is how we have to understand it. Chidihi iva chedyava sambandha viveka karane pravutta. Okay. What will happen? Phala avasana, the culmination of this cutting process, the ultimate result. so phala avasana, the ultimate result. Avasana means end result. So ultimate result will be what? Tad avayava dvaidhi bhava. So chedya avayava dvaidhi bhava. So definitely this cutting process doesn't do anything else other than separating the portion, two portions, let's say, here, separating the two portions of an object to be cut. That's it. That's a culmination. That's the result. Nothing more than that. It doesn't do any addition of a new, some attribute on the cut portions or anything. That's it. Same way in a gata jnanam. Yada, when gata tamasoho viveka karane pravuttam pramanam anupaditsita tamo nivrutti phalavasanam. So what happens is gata tamasoho viveka karane, in the knowledge of a pot. So what happens? Vivek gata tamasoho, tamas, avarana, which is there with the pramata, and pot, they are combined right now. Right? Gata tamasoho viveka karane pravuttam pramanam. The pramana is doing exactly like that cutting operation. Cutting means separating two portions there. Here cutting separation means what? Pramana is a cutting process. What does it separate? It separates gata tamasoho. It separates this part and the avarana, the jnanam, etc. So gata tamasoho viveka karane, in separation. Pravrittam, so pramanam. So that vritti, gata vritti, basically is a pramana which is engaged in cutting, in separating these two things. Pramana, pravrittam pramanam. Then it says anupaditsita tamo nivrutti phalavasanam. Upaditsita, I already told you, this portion we have seen, but we just revise it. Upaditsita upadatum ishtam. It is upaditsita, wanted. Anupaditsatam. Na upaditsatam, anupaditsatam. Unwanted. Undesirable. What? Tamaha. Anupaditsita tamo nivrutti phalavasanam. So this vritti jnanam gata vritti basically removes the ignorance, separates the ignorance and the pot. And what kind of ignorance? Unwanted. Naturally, knowing the pot, if he comes to know that there is a pot, that will be useful to him to fill up the water to drink later. So therefore, this, if he doesn't know, well, then it's not desirable. He should know that this object is there. Anyway, so anupaditsita tamo nivrutti. So unwanted ignorance, basically, tamo nivrutti, that is unwanted ignorance is removed. And anupaditsita tamo nivrutti phalavasana. And so the ultimate result is what? What is revealed. So in that, this gata vritti basically doesn't do anything else other than the separation of ignorance and the pot. That's it. And which kind of ignorance? Which is unwanted. Anyway, so this is how he said. Now, and we discussed this, that pot of, so that gata vritti basically has removed the avarana from the pot, because already gata vritti has occurred. Pot was there, but now in your head there is already pot vritti. Definitely the avarana has gone. So that is vritti vyapti, we know. But then definitely the pot is revealed also. Therefore vritti, of course, is a jadam, gata vritti jadam. It has removed avarana from the pot, that is fine. For pramata, avarana is gone. But then basically it shines in the head of a pramata. So antakarana, which is jadam, cannot make it shine. So therefore, definitely, phalavayapti called chidabhasa. Chidabhasa, which is there in the vritti, reveals it. So that is there. And but Bhashyakara here just says tamo nivrutti phalavasana. He doesn't say that tamo nivrutti is a vritti vyapti, but later the chidabhasa also reveals pot. He should say, instead he says tamo nivrutti phalavasanam. Ultimate result is this avidya nivrutti alone. The vritti has to occur in the mind. If vritti has to occur, that's fine. That's antakarana vritti, which is jadam. Anything shines in your head means consciousness is there. Knowledge it is, right? And therefore consciousness is there. Therefore definitely we should say that chidabhasa, why tamo nivrutti phalavasanam? Phalavyapti, chidabhasa vyapti also is there. Anyway, so, but Bhashyakara doesn't want to give credit if we discuss that, because literally speaking, pramana doesn't do that job. Pramana, the vritti, antakarana, doesn't do the job of revelation. That's for sure. But so the pramana, it doesn't, that vritti, basically it is jadam. Therefore, it is not doing a job of revelation. Then the chidabhasa, which is already present in the antakarana, that chidabhasa alone is the pramata. Pramata is chidabhasa. Antakarana pratibimbita chaitanyam, antakarana vishishta chaitanyam, antakarana abhasita chaitanyam, whatever you want to say. Avachinna chaitanyam. That pramata is already there. Who is a chaitana? His chidabhasa is there, and therefore he himself is a chidabhasa. And therefore, so if you want to give a credit for revelation of the pot in the head of a pramata, that credit should go to pramata. That's it. Not to anyone else. Therefore, Bhashyakara is right. Avidya nivrutti eva. Ajnana nivrutti, avarana nivrutti eva, basically pramana phalam. That's it. Because chidabhasa doesn't belong to vritti, that is jada actually. And therefore, pramata should be given a, and a pramata also basically is a chidabhasa, therefore pramata is not a, is also again aham vritti only. And well, then entire antakarana becomes abhasita with the consciousness, chidabhasa, I mean, that is pramata. So we should remember vritti avachinna chaitanya is a prama, and antakarana avachinna chaitanya is a pramata. We have done all these things, all, if you remember that this looks little familiar, then we have done in a chapter 10 of Panchadashi. All these things we did there in chapter 10 of Panchadashi. Who is pramata? What is prama? What is prameya? Vishayavachinna chaitanyam prameyam, vritti chaitanyam prama, and antakarana chaitanyam pramata. Ultimately all chaitanyam. Triputi is chaitanyam alone. Anyway, this is just by the way. So my point is the credit should go to pramata, or ultimately go to Atma, Sakshi. Right? Even pramata is revealed by whom? Sakshi. Pramata exists in Sakshi. It's only a Chidabhasa. So anyway, therefore Bhashyakara doesn't talk about this Phalavyapti and Pramana reveals and all that. Bhashyakara doesn't say. As the vritti occurs in the mind of a pramata regarding a object, prameya, so means avarana from that object has gone. That's there. So anyway, so tada ghata vijnanam, so bhashaka, so yada punah ghatatamosoho vivekakarane pravrittam pramanam anupaditsita tamo nivritti phala avasanam tada na antariyekam ghata vijnanam na pramana phalam. And here also anupaditsitam. Anupaditsitam, ajnanam is anupaditsitam, naturally. We should not, this ajnana alone has created all this. All issues. Human life, the issues are basically this. I am an individual. I am a jiva. A wrong notion. That's it. On a self-evident Atma, the superimposition, the error occurs due to ignorance. And then whole samsara comes. Whole samsara. The gravity of the samsara is not an acceptance of oneself. Just not acceptance. Non-acceptance of oneself in spite of doing, acquiring, giving up thousands and thousands of things in the world. Acquiring also several things, yet non-acceptance. I feel certain things unwanted, I have given up thousands of things in order to be comfortable with oneself. Not yet comfortable. I have become a lot of, I have become so much. I have dreamt myself to be so and so. And you have become also. Yet not comfortable. To be comfortable with oneself, one should have awareness that one is Brahman. That's it. Nothing else works. Nothing else. That is how Vedanta is very comfortable. Comfortable means people are doing all this, Swamiji, and they also can gain moksha. Why sitting and drinking a cup of coffee with a two toast? And you say sitting here itself you gain moksha? Yes, sitting itself. Yeah, sitting Swami, sitting Grihasthas. All our sitting Grihasthas, they just sit. Nothing else. What is required here is simply Vivekakaranam. That's it. Nothing is to be thrown because you cannot throw. What you throw also is yourself. Nothing, you should understand, you should just correct a mistake. I am not a jiva. I am not an individual. I am not a waker. A waker is me. Dreamer is me. Deep sleeper is me. I am the fourth. I am free from attributes, free from limitations of time, space, attributes, etc. Therefore, fourth. All these three with attributes, limited, etc. So, the goal of life is to be comfortable with oneself. And one can fulfill that goal just Vivekakaranam. Therefore, Ajnanam is anupaditsatam, of oneself. Ignorance pertaining to oneself is anupaditsatam, is unwanted, creating a samsara. Anyway, so यदा पुनः घटतमसोः विवेककरणे प्रवृत्तं प्रमाणम् अनुपादित्स्य तमोनिवृत्ति फलावसानं तदा connect, that's a correlative, तदा न आंतरिकं घट विज्ञानं न प्रमाण फलम. So when pramana removes this avarana, spot knowledge is instantaneous. So na antariyekam, it's inclusive. Don't think that avarana has gone now. Vritti also add a attribute to that object called revealed, known. Nothing. That avarana nivritti is enough. So spot knowledge instantaneous takes place. It is automatic. No separate process is required. So antariyekam, na antariyekam means antargatam. Antariyekam means which is exclusive. Na antariyekam means inclusive. It is now part knowledge is inclusive. It is instantaneous. So gata vijnanam, that way na pramana na antariyekam, tada na antariyekam gata vijnanam na pramana phalam. So definitely gata vijnanam is a result of a pramana operation. Knowledge is not the result of a pramana operation. Ignorance removal is the result of a pramana operation. Because objects are already within the medium of consciousness. Consciousness is ease. Right? Consciousness is. And therefore, in fact, every thought is, that is what Pratibodha Viditam Matam we have studied in Kena Upanisad. Every thought is consciousness. Therefore, Jnani between Jnani and Ajnani also the difference is this. Jnani allows thinking, any thinking to take place. Just as anything, any other thing he allows to take place, this thinking also is he allows thinking to take place. Prakashancha pravrittincha mohamevacha pandava. Nadveshti sampravruttani na nivruttani kankshati. That's a lakshana of a jnani described by Bhagavan in 14th chapter. Prakasham, pravrittim, moham, sattva, rajas, tamas, any kind of vritti. He just allows vritti to take place. Because he knows every thought is I. I am not that. That's clear. Therefore, he doesn't say I'm angry or I'm that, etc. Anyway, let's go further. Nacha, page 50, third line. Nacha tadvadapi atmani adhyaropita antःप्रज्ञत्वादि विवेककरणे प्रवृत्तस्य प्रतिषेध विज्ञान प्रमाणस्य अनुपादित्सित antःप्रज्ञत्वादि निवृत्ति व्यतिरेकेण तुरीये व्यापार उपपत्तिः antःप्रज्ञत्वादि निवृत्ति समकालमेव प्रमातृत्वादि भेद निवृत्तेः तथा च वक्षति ज्ञाने द्वैतं न विद्यते ज्ञाते द्वैतं न विद्यते. I'm sorry, that is a karika, 18th karika, which is going to come. Anyway, so here Shankaracharya says, well, actually in a case of a pot, that ghatavrutti is being a jada, there is apeksha of a chidabhasa to reveal pot. Therefore, well, now he goes to abhipetyavada. Abhipetyavada means what? He says, okay, O Purupakshi, you said, this pramana basically adds a new attribute to that object, which is, you call it revealed, known object, known pot, etc. So you are saying, pramana later adds a new attribute, unknown becomes known, and etc. So, in the case of a pot, if you want to say that there is a new attribute generated, if you want to say that, well, say that. Pramana does both the jobs. Pramana does avarana nivrutti. At the same time, pramana basically, reveals a pot, and therefore the revealed, etc. attribute now is there on the object pot, etc. That is okay. If you want to say that, say it. It's called abhipetyavada. You accept temporarily the other's opposite's view. Here Swamiji says, Tushtatu durjana nyayena. So sometimes Durjana is, you don't want to confront Durjana. So, well, Tushtatu. May you be happy, okay? What you say is true. Or this is like that. So if you confront, well, he, he will take care of you. So therefore, okay. So here this Purapaksha's view is, well, Pramana does, reveal also. Not just Pramana removes the avarana, it also reveals. We say Pramana is a vritti, etc., and it cannot reveal an etc. No, it reveals. And therefore, by the way, this Swamiji had given that example. I want to just discuss. I just forgot in a pressure to to complete little portion of Bhashyam. The example is like this. That example for what? Example for what? That already once avidya nivrutti takes place, object which is already there in the consciousness, because the entire world is in consciousness, non-separate from consciousness, and therefore it is automatically revealed, etc. For that, he gives an example, and that example is this. Like, suppose you think that you have come here, and you are sitting in the hall, and as I come and sit, and I just look at everyone in general, not specifically. In my awareness, you all fall. In the whole hall falls in my awareness. Means the whole hall is pervaded by my Chidabhasa, naturally. Okay? Pramata Chidabhasa. Now, specifically, I would like to know a particular person has come or not. You all already have fallen in Chidabhasa. Pramata Chidabhasa. I am a Pramata. But now I want to know a particular person has come or not. Then definitely a corresponding vritti of that particular person should occur. And as that person I see and that vritti occurs in my mind, means the avarana from that person which I am having, I was not aware, means I'm having avarana of that person. As the vritti occurs of that person, the avarana goes away. And since you are already in that Chidabhasa, Pramata Chidabhasa, in general, you are already there. You are revealed. Could you follow? That's what it is. So vritti does a removal of a avarana on a given thing. That's all he wants to convey. But anyway, so here, Tushtatu Durjana Nyaya. Okay. So far as this, in the case of a pot, Pramana has to remove the ignorance and also reveal the pot. So Pramana does both the job. Anyway, so that is because Ghata happens to be a Jada, and therefore Ghata cannot shine on its own, and therefore definitely Ghata has to be pervaded by a vritti. So avarana goes away, and Phalavyapti means Ghata should be revealed by the Chidabhasa which is there in the vritti. And so, definitely then Gata Jnanam takes place. So, both the jobs are required. That I accept it. We say to that Purvapakshi. But in case of Atma, two jobs are not there. Because I am a self-evident Atma, self-evident consciousness, and therefore I cannot be revealed by, the consciousness cannot be revealed by the reflected consciousness, reflected, Chidabhasa. How it is possible? The reflection of the sun in a mirror cannot reveal, right, cannot illumine the sun. And therefore, only in case of Atma, definitely, only vritti vyapti is required. Only ignorance, avarana which is there, anadi avarana is there, which will go away when you expose yourself to the teaching, Shabda Pramana. Then corresponding vritti occurs, then definitely the avarana goes away, and you being the self-illuminating, self-shining consciousness, you know yourself that I am Brahman, etc. So therefore, Basically, in case of pot, you say that both the things are required, that's fine, okay, we can accept it. But in the case of a Atma, the Turiya, well, what you have to do is only remove this wakerhood, this dreamerhood, and this the sleeper hood, etc. It should be removed. That's it. Therefore, na anta pragnam, na bahish pragnam, and this should be removed. Then what is the pramana for that? Vritti. But what is vritti will be in keeping with what? Shabda. What is that shabda? Seventh mantra. So seventh mantra is a pramana. Na nanta pragnam, na bahish pragnam, na ubhayata pragnam, etc. etc. And therefore, I need not be revealed by Shabda. Shabda cannot reveal me. Then I am not self-revealing. I am self-revealing, but I am committing a mistake due to ignorance. That is being corrected. And to correct the mistake means you have to negate the error. And therefore, na antapragnam, etc. So this is how it has been said. So, tadvadapi means as in the case of a pot, where you definitely need a phalavapti, etc. But in the case of a turiyam, this revelation, etc., as a separate function of a pramana, the second function, phalavapti, is not required. So tadvadapi means gati eva, means atmani adhyaropita, means like in the case of a part, here it is not required. That's how it is used, tadvadapi. Anyway, atmani adhyaropita antapragnatvadi vivekakarane. Here, so atmani adhyaropita. So Shruti negates these three attributes from the already evident turiya. All this. So and turiya is all the is evident in all the three states without any change, which is invariably present. On that turiya atmani. So atmani means atma vishay, or on the atma as it is. You can take it as a locus. Atmani adhyaropita. So all these three are adhyaropa. All these three are superimposed due to ignorance. Antapragnatvadi vivekakarane. Adhyaropita antapragnatvadi. Antapragna, bahishpragna and ganapragna. All these are adhyaropita on the atma. Vivekakarane. Pruthakarane. Pruthakarane means what? Just like in a Gatagnanam you are doing. You are separating ignorance and the object. Here you are also separating the avarana and the self. Right? Both are anadi. But one is mithya actually. One is satyam. And what is born of that ignorance also is mithya. That notion. And that is I am antapragna, I am bahishpragna, etc. etc. So all this vivekakarane means you cognitively you separate them, and then definitely you will claim that you are turiya. You are already turiya, but you just do a mistake. That's how this claiming oneself is knowing. We say claiming I am turiya is a moksha, etc. Claiming is a knowing oneself, etc. That's very important to know this. So negation of any anatma in Vedanta, any blessed anatma is only in one way we have to solve this. It's not physical negation here. Therefore, these three states basically are superimposed upon Jagrita Sthanaha, Swapna Sthanaha, and Sushupta Sthanaha. Sthanaha means a state, or you can say even a state of experience. And what obtains in that waking state, etc., is called Jagrita Sthana. What obtains in a waking state? What obtains in a waking state is Vishwa and Virat and everything. Anyway, we have seen that. So these three states are negative, means, we have to go to the fourth state of experience called Samadhi, etc. No, because you are very much present here. So not that all the three states should be totally negated as such physically from the experience itself, and then you should have this fourth state called Samadhi, etc. to experience Turiya, to know Turiya. No. Negation here is a understanding. And that understanding takes place in which avastha? waking avastha, then definitely in a waking avastha, if this kind of negation occurs, that means definitely waking avastha itself is negated in a waking avastha. Therefore, this negation is quite different. That's what it means. So, whatever I want to negate, basically I understand it as a mithya. Mithyatva nishchaya eva anatmanasha, etc. Anatma nisheda. So, negating vakerhood is understanding that the vakerhood is a mithya. The sthani, all the three are sthana. Sthani is atma, that is turiya. That is discussed here in 7th mantra, nanta pragnam, etc. Sthani has this incidental attributes. That's how they come and go. Sthani has these incidental attributes and yet not touched. Being incidental attribute, not intrinsic, Sthani is not touched at all. Turiya is not touched at all. If Turiya is not touched at all, means they are mithya. Yeah, mithya cannot touch Satyam. And therefore negation is just a mithyatva nishya, that is nothing else. So remaining in a waking state, well, I understand that waking state is an attribute of the mind. We know all this. Three avasthas are basically, it's of mind. And when the mind itself is mithya, the attribute of the vakerhood also, which is an attribute of the mind, definitely, it is a fully conscious mind, which is our consciousness along with this mithya upadhi called mind, is a vaker. And then further identification also will include in that vaker, where the identification with the senses and even with the gross body will be there. So basically the mind itself is mithya, and therefore any attribute of the mind, which is nothing but the waker, dreamer, etc., and deep sleeper. Deep sleeper also is a dormant mind. Anyway, so this is or ahankara, either way you can say. Well, therefore, all are mithya. So antaprajnatvadi viveka karane means mithyatva nisheda, mithyatva nishchaya. Well, pravuttasya pramanasya, he says. So, and pravuttasya pramanasya pratisheda vijnana pramanasya. So, antaprajnatvadi viveka karane pravuttasya pratisheda vijnana pramanasya. So definitely with the help of this pratisheda vijnanam, nisheda vijnanam, is, what is that nisheda vijnanam? This is that 7th mantra. Na antaprajnam, na bahishprajnam, na ubhayata prajnam, na prajnam, na aprajnam, etc., etc. Na prajnam means, we'll be seeing it, we'll be coming to that, but na prajnam means basically it is all-knowing consciousness. Na aprajnam. Means it is not consciousness, means it is jadam. Don't say that. We will say the Atma is jadam, because any consciousness you are negating. Waker consciousness, no. Dreamer consciousness, no. And deep sleeper consciousness, no. All-knowing consciousness, no. Ubhayata prajnam, in between MPD, no. It's MPD. Recognize very well. Multiple personality. Yeah, ubhayata. Anyway, so that consciousness, no. Well, then, aprajnam. Atma is aprajnam. Na aprajnam. Then Atma is what? Gnya. Atma is what? Gnya. No attribute consciousness. All attributes are incidental properties. All attributes belong to Maya. Maya's job is only one. Just keep changing. Appear, disappear. And even when appearance, it keeps changing and changing. Remaining very well non-separate from Brahman. So deriving existence and revelation, everything from Brahman, this is a job of Maya. And therefore, all this mind and all other things, all the three states. Therefore, pratisheda vijnana pramana. That's mantra number 7. That is what the nisheda vijnana. And what does pramana do? Well, this is also another technical point. So when you negate, we have already discussed several times, when you negate that there is no sunrise and blue sky and blue ocean and there are no little twinkle stars and all these things, when you negate, definitely in your experience they will continue. Exactly, because this is not a Srushti created by you. Now you are talking about Srushti. Earlier you said you negated the Srushti. Srushti means these all appearances through Maya. That is what it is. That is well through the upadhi of the Ishvara only, and therefore we cannot destroy them. So you continue to experience, but you understand it is mithya. Maya. Maikam. I have already told you about Jnanadhyasa and Arthadhyasa, etc. So anyway, so Pramana alone has the power to negate. I mean, always negation should be done by Pramana. Either Arthadhyasa, any type of a superimposition. The negation of the superimposition should be done only by Pramana, even in the case of a rope snake, where the Adhyastha Vastu, the Sarpa, goes away. You won't see again. There also Pramana. Either you see closely, either you use another light, etc. And in that light you see. Mere light is not enough. You have to see in the light. So basically you use your eyes to remove that, to negate that sarpa. So anywhere negation occurs and you understand it as a superimposed, well, that's the job of a pramana. So that's the same way here, while all the three states of experience in which whatever is there, whatever, prathama pada, dvitiya pada, tritiya pada of the Atma, whatever is there is ultimately we negate through pramana. So, and that is pratisheda vijnana, pramanasya. The pramana which is in the form of a nisheda vijnanam. Nisheda vijnanam of what is to be what is negatable. What is negatable we are negating. Sarpa is negatable, so we negate. That's it. And here no, in mithyatva nishya of this world, three states, pratyaksha will not work. There pratyaksha in a rope snake, but here pratyaksha pramana, in fact pratyaksha pramana establishes world. Right? So here, to negate the world as a mithya, etc., superimposed on the Brahman or Atma, well, you definitely need another pramana, and that is Shabda pramana, which is discussed in the 7th mantra. While revealing Turiya, it's all Nisheda Jnana. So Mithyatva Rupa, Nishaya Rupa, Nisheda. Or Nisheda Rupa Mithyatva Nishaya, either way. Either you say Mithyatva Nishaya Rupa Nisheda, Pratisheda, or Pratisheda Rupa Mithyatva Nishaya, either way. Both are synonyms. Nothing is to be removed, nothing is to be acquired, nothing. Simply understanding the thing as it is while analyzing your experience. That's it. Analyzing your experience, you do a viveka with the help of this pramana. So, pratisheda vijnana pramanasya pravuttasya, when it is engaged well, here it doesn't do two jobs. It only does one job of negating ignorance and ignorance born atyasa. Therefore, all the three, you will understand them. If you understand them, all three are superimposed, ignorance has gone. That's it. Yeah. All the three are superimposed on Atma. The fourth, the Turiya, is distinct from all the three. That way. Well, present in all the three, immanent. At the same time, it transcends all the three. Therefore, I am calling it fourth. I am that Atma. Well, in that Chatushpat Atma, I am that which pervades all the three. That's how it is not 4. We said 3 plus 1. That's the way it is. 3 plus 1. But 3 plus 1 is 4. No. 3 plus 1. Because that 1 pervades the 3. 1 pervades the 3. But 1 is not 3 also. All the 3 are 1. But 1 is not this, either of that also. Therefore, 3 plus 1. In Omkara also it is like that. Say 3 plus 1. Akara, Ukara, Makara, 3 matras. And fourth is Amatra. So therefore you cannot say, if a fourth one also is some particular matra, then you say it is fourth. But it is Amatra. Matra na vidyate. iti amatram. And therefore, that's how it is equated. Padaha, matraha. Matraha, padaha. Eighth mantra it will come. So, matrasya padaha, padasya matraha. The analysis of Omkara is this. The meaning of the word Om is Brahman. That's it. Meaning of the word Om is Brahman. That is Mandukya. Yeah. So this is how. Like Jiva is Brahman. Omkara is Brahman. Same. Exactly same. It's a Mahavakya. Jiva is Brahman, Swamiji, but Jiva is Brahman means there you do a Lakshana. So Lakshana is to be done. Lakshana is to be done. Why Lakshana is to be done? Vachyartha cannot be. No. Atma has, we have already seen. No word in a language, in any language, can indicate that this is Atma. Can have a meaning, Brahman or Atma. All pertaining to different objects in the world. Anyway, so therefore we have to do Lakshana. So Amatra also is a Lakshana. Amatra means no sound. Om, Akar, Ukar, Makaras. Then what? Silence. Then silence means sound, Atma means sound free. No, sound free. What obtains in silence is consciousness. How can you say what obtains in silence? Then I am asking you, how do you say there is silence? Oh, I know there is silence. That's it. That's what I am saying you. That is how it is. So therefore, Om, when you say, it's a Pluta actually. And then you silent. Then another Om. In silence, what obtains? Consciousness. So the silence means the meaning is sound free. That is Vachyartha. But what is connected with the silence, which reveals the silence has a basis, the truth. That is consciousness. So Bhagatyaga. Silence, it's a sound free thing. That's okay. That's a mithya. How can you say silence, sound free is mithya? Okay, it is nitya or anitya? Oh, it is anitya. It is anitya. Sound free, the silence is there how long? How long? Child cries. Shuru. Or she starts a mixie. Shuru. Silence gone. What obtains in silence? What illumines the silence? Without which silence cannot exist. You prove that there is a silence means you are very much there to prove that. Yeah, that's what it is. Anyway, so my point is, this is the whole analysis in 12 mantras. Start with the Omkara. Omkara is everything, very clearly said. Omkara is everything. And then second mantra says Atma is everything, which is Brahman. Or Brahman is everything, which is Atma. Either I am Atma, Brahman. That's it. Then the whole thing is this. Pada of the Atma and Matra of the Omkara. Equated. That's it. So in the 12th mantra, then lastly, finally, then some Omkara Upasana is there. Anyway, yeah, because I had referred, that's how I am sharing with you for these classes now. Anyway, so Anupaditsita Antapragnatvadi Nivrutti Vyatirekena. So this pramana is pravuttam, engaged in only Nisheda Vijnanam, etc. And then he says Anupaditsita Antapragnatvadi Nivrutti. Again, Anupaditsita. This unwanted Antapragnatvadi Nivrutti. It removes this ignorance and adhyasa called Antapragna, Bahishpragna, etc. It doesn't reveal Turiyam because Turiyam is self-revealing. At least this Ajnanam is gone. You understand them as the adhyasa and they will continue in your experience. 3 states of experience will continue. But you understand you are basically invariably present in all the 3 states. At the same time, you are the very basis of all the 3 states and you are distinct from all the 3 states. You transcend in terms of reality. Basically, nothing of them can touch you. You are a Sangha. So, and even when we accept this, revelation by Chidabhasa, etc., in the case of a pot, etc., we will not accept it as a addition of a new attribute, as we discussed that thing very well before. We don't accept it as an addition of an attribute. We will accept reveals the pot, that is fine. We will never accept Chidabhasa adds an attribute to the pot, because the moment you talk about an addition of attribute, it becomes a karma. We have discussed this very well. So therefore, after addition of a new attribute means knowledge is a karma phala. That's not. Knowledge is not a karma phala. Knowledge is a pramana phala, and therefore basically karma and pramana jnanam are quite distinct things. We have already discussed this. So revelation is etc. is not an addition of some attribute by pramana etc. In case of even pot also. Whereas in the case of turiya, of course, that revelation also we don't accept. Turiye vyapara upapatti na, and therefore, so na is there in the beginning. You add here now turiye with respect to turiya vishay. In case of turiya, upapatti na means vyapara upapatti na. So upapatti na means there is no need of another pramana vyapara. What is a pramana vyapara? What is the pravritti of this pramana? Well, to reveal also. In case of turiya, no. That kind of a thing is not there. And he gives some technical reason also for that. And that's a page 50, third line. He says, Antapragnatvadi nivrutti samakalameva parmatrutvadi bheda nivrutte tatha cha vakshati jnate dvaitam na vidyate iti. So very technical reason he gives, that Shastra Pramana basically negates ignorance and that superimposition. So superimposition of this waker, dreamer, etc., sleeper, status, sthana, so is the Pramana phalam. And Shankaracharya says only in the superimposition of waker or dreamer, when they are superimposed, then you are no more a turiya. You take yourself to be a pramata. That's the reason he gives here. Pramatrutvadi bheda nivrutti. So he gives a different reason. Why in case of a turiya, other than avidya nivrutti, nothing else takes place by operation of a pramana. So he gives another reason for that. And so he says, as they are superimposed, means as Atma is identified with the body, mind, sense complex, etc., or identified with the mind, you say yourself as a knower, pramata. That's it. So means if I take myself to be a waker or a dreamer or even that way deep sleeper also, well, my status, I will take myself to be a knower only. Of course, wakerhood and dreamhood are dissolved in a deep sleep state. Therefore, there is no knower. But these two states are definitely where we claim ourselves to be a knower of a dream world and knower of a waking world, etc. So Shankaracharya says, once this seventh mantra pramana removes this avidya and superimposition, na anta pragnam, etc., then I, basically, who is exposed to this pramana, exposed to this knowledge, teaching of this seventh mantra, etc., have lost the knowerhood, because that is negated. Wakerhood is negated means what? Waker pramata is negated. Dreamerhood is negated means dreamer pramata. Dreamer is a knower of the dream world. So that is negated. So in a waking state, before operation of a means of knowledge, before exposure to the teaching, he was taking himself as a pramata. And he said, I am going to expose myself to Shabda Pramana, etc., teacher. So he was taking himself as a knower. Of course, in a waking state, and he says, I am a waker and I am a knower. And after learning this through seventh mantra, now he negates that I am not a knower. So I am not a knower, then what? I am basically a knowledge, I am consciousness. Knowerhood is a simply status, mithya status. That will not go away, that we have already discussed. And therefore, the pramata which before the operation of a pramana was a pramata, but after operation of this pramanam, teaching, etc., I have lost this pramata status or falsified the pramata status. Only when I identified with this mithya mind, only now I know that I become a knower, etc. Separated from the mind in terms of a viveka, etc., that it is mithya and I am real, or I am satyam. Pramata exists in me. I don't exist is a pramata. Means I don't exist as a real pramata. Pramata exists in me, that's a reality. Pramata shines in me, basically. So I am a pure consciousness, not even a knower. Well, Bhashyakara's ingenious argument is this, that once this ignorance is removed, and the superimposition, of course, is understood, well, I have lost Pramatrutva status. And once I lose the Pramatrutva status, Pramana loses its status as a Pramana. Pramana is a one, basically, because Pramanam is a Pramanam only for a Pramata. So therefore, because Pramanam means a knowing instrument, which is wielded by the Pramata, the knower. And therefore, if you negate that I am not a Pramata, it is just an incidental status, I am a Turiya, then definitely the same status now will become of a Pramanam also. Pramanam also becomes Mithya. Would you follow? And therefore, once Ajnana Nivritti takes place, Pramata is to dissolve. Dissolve means understood as a Mithya. And once the Pramata is understood as Mithya, Pramana loses its Pramana status, that also becomes Mithya. When Pramata and Pramanam have become Mithya, the Prameya also, becomes Mithya. So the Triputi basically is understood. The Triputi is gone. Gone in terms of reality, it is gone. Once I understand myself as a Turiya, which pervades all the three, but at the same time, I am talking about just a waking state. At the same time, I am free from all the three. I am invariably present in all the three, but at the same time, so while I appear as all the three, I remain Turiya. And if they are really dissolved, waking state itself goes away, I remain Turiya. So either addition of a Pramatrutvam in me doesn't bring any change in me, and removal of a Pramatrutvam from me doesn't bring any change in me. That's what it is. So, because Mithya, addition of a part in a clay, clay remains the same. Removal of a part from the clay remains the same. No change at all. So, this is what it is. So, Pramatruttvadi bhed, Adipadat, Pramana, Prameya, all this also. So, that's such kind of a bheda, Nivrittehe. When Antapragnyatvadi Nivritti Samakalameva. As you remove this Antapragnatva, I am not Antapragnya, I am not a Bahishpragnya, etc., I am a Turiya. So as the ignorance pertaining to Turiya goes away, you correct the mistake, then Antapragnyatvadi Nivritti Samakalameva. At the same time, all the three also go away. So falsification. So, but then what is the ingenious in this? Because once the Pramana has lost its Pramana status, then how can it continue to function to reveal Turiya? Turiya which is Satyam, Pramana which is Mithya now. How can it reveal? And therefore, two jobs are not there. Basically, Pramana removes Ajnanam, which is also of the same reality called Mithya. Once the Pramana does this job of Avarana Nivritti, and you have understood that the Vaker, etc., all is Mithya. The Pramana also is also Mithya. In that case, such a Pramana cannot reveal Satya Turiya, etc. So it doesn't do two jobs. So Mimamsaka said two jobs. We have seen that, Prabhakaras. Removal of ignorance and revelation of object. No, in case of Turiya, it is not possible. So removal of ignorance itself, this Triputi is gone. Triputi is gone, then there is a question of a Pramana, surviving as Pramana to reveal the Turiya, etc. And make the Turiya as a Prameya also, object of knowledge, etc. No. So these are all stories. So with the first job, Triputi is falsified. First job is Avarana Nivritti. This Triputi is falsified, triad is falsified, and I claim I am a Turiya. I am self-revealing already. There is no operation of knowing the Turiya. So Antapragnyatvadi Nivritti Samakalameva. Even during the first operation of negating these threefold attributes, Vakerhood, etc., Samakalameva, simultaneously during the first operation of pramana, well, pramatruttvadi bheda nivrittehe, pramata etc., bheda, prameya, prama etc. goes away. That's it. And how do you know all these things? So, Bhashyakara, how do you know all this? Well, he says in Karika, you know, it is going to come. So, tatha tathacha jnate dvaitam na vidyate. Jnate dvaitam na vidyate. Dvaitam is this triputi. Dvidha itam iti dvaitam. Dvidha itam iti dvaitam. Dvidha itam means praptam, which obtains as a dual. Which appears as a dual. And what is Advaitam? Which has never become a dual. That's Advaitam. Which has never become dual. Therefore, na Dvaitam Advaitam. Dvaitam means which obtains as a dual. Obtains as a plural, I mean. Which appears. Itam means praptam. I dhatu. In dhatu. Gati. Gati means knowing, appearing, etc. Therefore, dvidaitam dvaitam, nadvaitam advaitam. The Atma which has never become a dual. Therefore, same Atma, Vishwa also, Virat also. Not that Virat, Atma is divided into two. And Vishwa, all that is there is one Atma appears as entire physical world or this physical body. Only thing is because of the avarana, you say, I am this, that's it. Ultimately, everything, the entire creation is superimposed upon this Brahman or Atma. You should claim you are Atma, but no. I am this. That's avarana. You make a division between, you create a duality between you and Ishvara. That's what it is. Anyway, so this is, up to this we'll keep. And further, this Bhashyam is a little bit there, and then Karikas also will come. First, before that, we will have to do that seventh mantra. Oh, what a beautiful mantra it is. So, which talks about this Turiya. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.